Hello, Alabama Baptist. Recent events have drawn our attention once again to how dangerous the world is in which we live. The shooting in Sutherland Springs, Texas has reminded us that even small churches, typical churches, like most of those in Alabama, can be targets and we're vulnerable. As I travel across the state and have opportunity to talk with churches about security, the one attitude that scares me the most is when people say to us, but it would never happen here. I think the events of Sunday have forever shattered that myth. And I want to talk to you for just a moment about some things you and your church can do to protect your congregation and to help secure your church. Keep in mind, there is no perfect solution. If someone is determined and bent on doing harm to people at your church, they likely can find a way. But there are many things you can do to help close that gap through which a wolf might try and enter. First of all, think about how many ways there are into your building. Most churches on Sunday morning have numerous doors that are unlocked and available for people to go in and out. My suggestion would be that you limit the number of doors that people can get into on Sunday morning so that they have to come through the main entrance. If you do this, it's essential for visitors' sakes, for the sake of your own people, that you have adequate signage and that you have somebody to help them find their way in. So limiting the access of people is a good place to start. Also think about the fact that this shooting was typical in many ways. The shooter entered about 15 minutes, 20 minutes after the service began. Somebody should be watching the back door at all times during the service. And if something suspicious shows up, then the person watching the back door should have a way to both signal the congregation to take action to get safe and to try and prevent the wolf from gaining access to where the sheep are. The shooter obviously had thought about some things, and indications are that this may be domestic violence related. And oftentimes violent attacks against churches are tied to family problems and family issues. So being aware and listening and paying attention are essential. In fact, one of the best things you can do for your church is to encourage everybody to be watching and listening. And if you see something or if you hear something, you say something now. That's essential for the safety of the church. Having people watch, limiting the access, and having the entire church as your ears and as your eyes is a great place to start. There are training videos that are online. The Department of Homeland Security produced a video a few years ago called Run, Hide, Fight. It's about 5 minutes long, and it goes through the steps to think about, to listen for, and to plan for run, hide, fight. If you'll take advantage of watching this video, and the link is on the State Board of Missions website, if you'll take advantage of watching this video and then as a church practice exit drills. In fact, one of the very best things you can do as a church is to practice exit drills. We do fire drills in public buildings all the time. Children do lockdown and exit drills in their schools, so it's not an unfamiliar tactic that's used. Practice these exit drills at various times in your service schedule throughout the week, but have people who are designated to help get folks out, have people who are designated to call 911. Think about the ways you would get out of your sanctuary should something happen. Watch the video, practice the drills, and remember, you don't have to have a person with a gun always to stop a bad guy. There are many things with which you can fight back. Think about those things. And as a church congregation, talk about how you can be proactive, how you can help one another, how you can prepare for the worst. Keep in mind that many things that happen to churches are medical in nature. It has to do with non-custodial parents or grandparents trying to regain control of their children. These are all issues that face churches of all sizes. But the typical, statistically speaking, the typical church is a church that is in a rural setting. It's a church that's small. Let's say in Alabama, if it were an average-sized church, somewhere between 50 and 75 people. It's a lot longer for the public safety officials to get there, so the church congregates themselves are the first responders. Think about what you can do, make a plan, and know that your State Board of Missions is constantly looking for ways to provide resources so that churches can be prepared, so that they can train, and so that they can do the things that are necessary to protect the folks who are there. One wag has put it this way: in this world in which we live, there are sheep, there are shepherds, there are sheepdogs, and there are wolves. The shepherd is the pastor. The sheep would be the congregation. The sheepdogs are those who are looking out for the welfare of the congregation. And we know who the wolves are. They don't always come dressed in black, but be aware that they're out to do harm to God's people nonetheless. And if we can watch for them, if we can take care of one another and prepare and train, surely we can do a better job of protecting ourselves. In closing, let me remind you of a couple things that can be helpful to you. At the website alsbaum.org/church security, you'll find a link to the Run, Hide, Fight video. I believe that's an essential training that every church ought to do. There is a document that you can find there that gives a summary of best practices, simple things that can be done to start making sure that your church is thinking right and properly about church security. Look for upcoming trainings at the State Board of Missions, and then remember that the State Board of Missions offers trainings, a trainer and a consultant to come to your church and to make suggestions and provide training on an individualized basis for your churches or for your associations. And if there are other ways that we can help you with this, please feel free to let us know. Thank you.